So you might have noticed lately that there's been an influx of products on the market for scalp health. There's scalp treatments, there's scalp exfoliants, and all these kinds of things. Now, if you're not sure what kind of issues you need these things for, or if you have a scalp issue, or if you have something that's a bit more serious that might need a trip to the doctor, then this video is for you. Because we're going to be going over some common scalp health issues, whether or not you can treat them on your own, whether or not you need to go to the doctor, and we're going to talk about why it's so important to take care of your scalp. Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm a licensed hairstylist with over 20 years of experience, and on this channel, I bring those 20 years of experience to help you have healthy, happy hair and scalp. So like I mentioned previously, we're going to be talking about scalp health in this video and why it's so important. So the main reason it's important is because you cannot have healthy hair without a healthy scalp. And in fact, some scalp issues can cause hair loss, which is probably not something anybody really wants. Also, like I mentioned previously, I'm going to be covering some common scalp health issues, how to identify them, how to treat and how to avoid them if there's something that you're doing that can actually cause them, and then when you should go to see a doctor, because some of these things are not treatable by products on the market or without being directed to certain products on the market with a doctor, because you might be using something for an issue that you're having and in reality you need to use something else. So one common scalp issue is having oil and product build up on your head. And what this will look like is you'll see some flakes up there and it can be itchy. So the reason this can be such an issue is because once your follicles are clogged, that can keep it from growing hair. It makes it difficult for it to grow hair out once it is clogged. So it will just wind up falling out because it cannot continue to grow the hair. Or if it's about to go from its resting phase into its active growing phase, it won't be able to start growing. And that's probably not the result that you want to see. So if you notice that you have a lot of flaking in your hair, but you don't actually have a dry scalp, then it might be that you're getting the flaking from buildup. So the best thing that you can do to start with is to wash your hair and to wash it a little bit more frequently. Maybe you're not washing it nearly enough, or maybe you need to use a good clarifying shampoo, or maybe you need to switch from washing with only a conditioner. If you happen to do only co-washing with only a conditioner, you might have to actually go back to using a cleanser that has a detergent in it, which I highly recommend anyway, just because a conditioner is not enough to clean your scalp. The scrubbing that happens with a conditioner and your fingertips is not enough and can in fact just work that conditioner into your follicles, further clogging them. So you will need to use some type of detergent to get buildup off your scalp. So now dry scalp, what is that like? That's basically like dry skin that you have anywhere else. So just like your skin can get ashy and it can feel very dry and sometimes flake and get tight. If you have skin that gets tight, that can happen on your scalp as well because your scalp is skin. So if you have those things happening, so if you have flakes in conjunction with the drier feeling of a scalp, or if your scalp is typically on the drier side and you're starting to see flakes and you've got the itchiness, and you feel the other telltale signs of having dry skin, then that's probably what it is. And now the treatments for dry scalp can be kind of similar to the treatments to dry skin, except for it's a little bit more difficult because you have hair on your head and you don't really want to put lotion on your scalp because you don't want lotion on your hair. So because dry scalp is like a more common problem, a lot of these scalp products that are being created are really good for this type of condition, and a lot of them are geared for keeping your scalp moisturized. They might say something like helping your hair grow long or helping it grow thick or something like that, and essentially it's just really getting the scalp nice and nourished and bringing back some moisture so that your scalp can do its job, your follicles can do its job of growing the hair to its greatest potential. And there are also the scalp exfoliators, which help with the removal of those flakes. So, and then Some conditioners can be used on the scalp. There is one by Curlsmith that I recently just tried. It's part of their scalp recipe and it's their deep conditioner. And I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's really good. It's a soothing deep conditioner, or soothing creme, or seriously, I don't know. I'll look it up and I'll put it on the bottom of the screen what it is, but that I found to be really good. I was experiencing some dry scalp recently, and I used that deep treatment and it worked brilliantly for helping to soothe my very dry, angry, irritated scalp. So if this is the problem that you suffer from, you will probably be able to find a number of treatments out there to help you with it. It's just a matter of finding what is going to work best for you, your skin, and your hair. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is dandruff. Dandruff is a mild form of seborrheic dermatitis, or seborrheic dermatitis. I'm not entirely sure about the pronunciation. So I'm looking at my notes here because with some of this more medical stuff, I just want to make sure that I'm getting it right and that I'm accurate and that I'm not forgetting something. The symptoms of dandruff are flakes and itchy red skin. You'll have buildup and dead skin in patches on your scalp. The flakes of skin that would ordinarily just like come off can't come off because the oil kind of holds it to the scalp. So that's what distinguishes dandruff from having the dry flaky scalp. Is it's not going to necessarily be flakes that are falling. It's flakes that are going to be mostly stuck to your scalp. And they're not 100% sure what causes dandruff, at least in my research. And then again, like my knowledge from cosmetology school, they think it could be caused by a fungus. So dandruff can be treated with several different shampoos and with special ingredients within those shampoos. And typically treatments that don't have these in there may not work on dandruff or seborrheic dermatitis. It typically only responds to these ingredients. So the coal tar that's in Neutrogena T-Gel, or salicylic acid, which is in Cebulex, or selenium sulfide, which is in Selsun Blue, and then ketoconazole, I don't know. I'm gonna put that on the bottom of the screen because I don't know that I'm pronouncing it correctly, probably not. So that's in Nizoral or Nizoral AD, or you can get that by prescription if you have a particularly stubborn case of dandruff. If you suspect that you might have dandruff, and if you've tried some of these shampoos and they've not worked for you, I would definitely make a trip to the doctor and just be sure that that's what it is. And if there's something else that you could be trying, for example, the prescription that I talked about, or maybe it's something different entirely. So that would definitely be worth a trip to the doctor, because any of that buildup that's on there, if it's not coming off or it's not being treated and it's continuous and pretty widespread, it can cause hair loss just because it can clog up your follicles. So another common scalp issue is inflammation that's caused by yeast. And you do have yeast that's on your scalp. It's called Malassezia yeast. Again, I'm gonna have to put that down below because I don't know if I'm saying it right. And it is found on your scalp, and it does eat the oils. It feeds on the oils from your scalp. It's always there, and most of the time it doesn't cause any problems. And so when this yeast starts getting a little out of control, either because of not having washed for a while or because of a buildup of the oil or a little bit of both, is your scalp will hurt, except for it'll kind of feel like your hair is hurting. So if you've ever had like a tender spot on your head, or you go to you have your hair up in a ponytail and you drop it down, and the movement of just your hair coming down, or if you go to pick it up or do anything with your hair, like the second you move your hair, you can feel your head hurting, but it feels like your hair is hurting because you're moving your hair, and it just feels like your hair is hurting. That is because of an overgrowth of this yeast. So the best way to get rid of this is to increase the frequency of shampooing. And if you're in the habit of only using conditioner to shampoo your hair, I would definitely start using products that actually have a detergent in there to get this oil off and to get this yeast back under control so that it's not getting out of control. You don't want to let this keep going and building up because it will keep causing inflammation, and any inflammation of your scalp can cause hair loss. There's a lot of stuff that can cause hair loss from scalp issues, and inflammation is typically swelling. So if you have a lot of swelling up there and those follicles get swollen, it's going to make it difficult for the hair to grow because the hair shaft is swollen. So just make sure that you are washing your hair and that you are washing it with a cleansing agent that has a detergent that's strong enough to be able to clean everything off your scalp. So the next scalp condition I want to talk about is psoriasis. And this one I'm going to be relying heavily on my notes for too. Even though I know a lot of this off the top of my head, I also just want to make sure that I don't forget anything and that I don't mess anything up. So psoriasis can actually be found on anywhere on your body, but it most often shows up on your scalp. So it's an autoimmune disorder, and it causes the body to make way more new skin cells than what it should be making. You will have this buildup of new skin cells, which then cause thick, crusty scales that can be itchy or sore. Psoriasis really needs to be treated by a doctor, and oftentimes they will prescribe steroid creams, tar or salicylic acid shampoos can help, and severe cases may need oral medications or injections. So if you believe yourself to have psoriasis, I would definitely go to the doctor and get that checked out, because like I said, it's an autoimmune disorder, and he's going to have the best advice for how to take care of your case of it. Whether you have a mild or severe case, he will let you know and let you know what your best course of action is for treatment. So another scalp condition, however, it's not overly common, is ringworm. And ringworm is not actually a worm, it is a fungus, and it causes round red scaly patches on your scalp, and you can get hair loss in that spot where those are at. Typically you see ringworm more on pets, on animals, cats, dogs, whatever. However, humans can get it as well. And this is something that does spread from one person to another, and it can be spread by sharing hats. It can be spread through clothing, towels, brushes, and combs. So this is one of the reasons why hairstylists need to be licensed, and they go through that process, is so that they can learn about these things and not spread things easily from one person to another, because this is just one of those things that can be spread from one person to another using our tools of the trade, which are brushes and combs. So treatment for ringworm is going to be, you need to take antifungal medications. Antifungal shampoo can help stop the spread, but you still need to take those medications. So you can use the antifungal shampoo after you've started taking the medications to help with that, but you still need to take the medications. I also know that kids with ringworm cannot go back to school until they have started the medication. So these are some of the more common, and in the case of ringworm, a little less common, but still out there and still something that you can pass along. Same thing with lice. However, that's not a scalp condition per se. That's an infestation of a parasite. And I think everybody knows just how easily that can be passed from person to person. So that's something else entirely, and perhaps an entire different subject for a video. I just wanted to make sure I covered the majority of the common scalp health issues and what the potential problems could be if these are ignored or not treated correctly in order to get rid of them and clear up your scalp, and just how important scalp health is so that you can grow healthy hair and not have hair loss based on any kind of scalp condition. So some tips that I'd like to add on top of the solutions for these things: wash your hair, like regardless of whatever condition you might have, or even if you don't have one, make sure you're washing your hair and make sure you're using a detergent to keep that yeast from growing out of control, to keep the oils out of control. And how often you need to wash is going to be based on each individual person, how oily their scalp is, what kind of product buildup they might be experiencing, if any. And that's going to be different for each person, and just going to go by how your scalp feels. If your hair starts itching a lot past a certain point day, like it starts itching when you're on day 3, or it starts itching a lot when you're on day 4. Like, you might want to change the frequency of your shampoos or change what kind of shampoo you're using in order to help with that. Another thing that you're going to want to do to help avoid causing some problems is to not sleep with wet hair. So don't put a deep treatment on your wet hair, then put it in a plastic baggie and put something else over it to protect it and keep it on there and to keep it off your sheets, because that locks in moisture and warmth, and it's a dark environment, and that's exactly the kind of place that bacteria, yeast, and fungus likes to grow and feed in. You're just creating their happy space. So don't give them a happy space to go forth and feast and multiply and cause your scalp all kinds of issues. We don't need this. So washing your hair and not sleeping in wet hair are 2 things that you can do to help prevent causing issues that you don't need to have. So hopefully you found this video helpful, and it has given you a bit of a guide to determine whether or not you have any of these conditions, or if you need to make a trip to the doctor, or just give you tips to prevent causing your own scalp woes. So if this video happened to do that, I have achieved my goal. If you like this video, if you could please give me a thumbs up. If you would like to see more content like this, please go ahead and subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you know when my videos come out. And also, if there's anything that you'd like to see, any comments, any questions, if you'd like to just say hi, go ahead and leave me a comment. I like comments. Speak to me. Let's have a conversation. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.